Hello, hello, and welcome to Faith, Love, and Coffee. I am Trish. I am hoping to be joined by Jamie in a little bit, and I think maybe Jeanette may pop in, or she may not. She may not. She's got a few things that has going on right now. But I did want to welcome you guys to the second part of our fall reset, which is harvesting stillness, finding peace in a noisy world. Now, I'm sure that a lot of us experience, just everyday life just crowding in on us. And sometimes we just feel like it's too much. And I feel exactly that. Today has been a little chaotic because I just feel like from the moment that I woke up this morning, it's been like go, 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 go. And it's been hardly a moment for myself. And I think like these kinds of episodes or these kinds of podcasts, wherever you can find them, if it gives you peace, is to take time, slow down, and try to embrace, your stillness in this chaotic world. So let's go ahead and dive into that really quick. I wanted to bring up a couple of points. And as I was putting down the theme tonight, this is a time for us to turn inward. Just like fall encourages like the trees to slow down, shed, and preserve energy, we can find strength in slowing our pace too. And I know that's kind of hard to do. We're moms, we're wives, we're teachers, we're executives, we're, anything you name it out there, doctors and nurses, places that are so busy. And we just sometimes forget to take time for ourselves. It's almost like our routine, right? It's like getting up in the morning, you make yourself a cup of coffee. You try to read something that you think is going to be, oh, this will be good for me to read in just a moment. The next thing you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got to hurry up. I've got to get ready. I've got to put my makeup on. I got to get out in the road, and I got to get my kid to school, and I've got to make sure this report is done before an 8:30 deadline. That kind of thing. And you're just going, 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 and then it just keeps on going throughout the day, and it just goes and goes. Well, this episode invites us to embrace quiet, calm, sacred pauses and reconnect with our inner calm, our inner selves, the one that inner self that is crying out for just, for lack of a better word, stillness. Okay. I mean, this is like something that we crave, or actually I crave. I'm not sure about you, but I crave stillness. And sometimes when I hear somebody just doing this, when all I want to be is like, it kind of like, you know, it stirs something in me, like, and I don't want to be mean, and I don't want to be rude, and I don't want to be like, hey, quiet down already. But it's just like one of those things that you just that I just crave. I crave silence sometimes, and I think that silence is such a great thing to have in this world. I There's just so much out there, and then also like something always vying for your attention, right? Like you've got these commercials over here, and oh, buy this, and oh, buy that, and oh, did you know the secret to this is that, and and they lure you in just to give you this incredibly long infomercial of whatever they're selling. And the next thing you know, you have the next thing you have actually um have already wasted 30 minutes to an hour listening to what they said, and then you may not even buy anything at all. It's just crazy. Everything that is just vying for our attention, or wanting um to get us to buy, or just to be, to have you spend time with them rather than with yourself. So anyway, my little soapbox for just a second. All right, so Jamie has joined us. on, I don't know, for about 9 minutes now.
Okay.
And this is my sister Jamie, you guys. Y'all know who she is. She
What
was just
was
walking
your,
the dog.
yeah, what did I miss? I missed a soapbox. What was going on?
Well, I was just beginning, I had already been talking about taking time for ourselves. This
Okay.
episode, the harvesting stillness, finding peace in, this noisy world and all the things that can vie for our attention, like being a mom and being a wife and being, a teacher or being, an executive, a doctor, whatever. And just from the get go, you are just go, go, go. From the moment
Yeah.
you wake up, you go, go, go. And then
Yeah.
the vicious cycle starts all over again.
Yes. Yes.
So once you like go into your bed exhausted, and here you are waking up 6 to 8 hours later, depending on how many hours of sleep you get, right?
Yeah.
You just go into the cycle of going again. So I was just coming up with these scenarios and stuff. So,
Okay.
um, but the question that I have for you all, for those who are listening or joining us later, is what has your soul needed this week? It's a very good question. What has your soul needed this week? And I think, as I was talking about earlier, like everything's vying for our attention, I said stillness. This is what my soul craves, stillness, just being quiet and everything around me quiet, which is hard in this house.
Yes.
Part of this house,
I'm
especially since we got two brand new 3-month-old kittens and an elderly dog
oh,
and a 15-year-old and a husband and myself. So it is just chaos.
yeah.
So anyway, that is what I crave. I crave stillness and just quietness this last week. And especially after today. Today was
Yeah.
and it's Wednesday.
Thank you for
Woo!
that reminder.
Yes, and I just hope that the next 2 days will come and go quickly, and so we can rest and again. But it's going to be busy again. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you think you really rest on the weekend either? I don't know.
No, no, and ladies, y'all know what I'm talking about. We think we're going to have a minute to rest, and there is so much going on this weekend. I think the only day that I'll rest is when I'm sitting at church listening to the Word of God, and maybe a little bit of time after that, and that's just about it. So I'm hoping because work in a house is never done. It's never done.
It's true.
Yes.
But
So
then, like we try to say as teachers, because our work is the same, never done, it will be there tomorrow.
it will be there tomorrow. It will be there, but some things just cannot wait.
No,
Some
no,
things
I
cannot.
agree. I agree.
Yes. So we are talking about this finding peace, harvesting stillness, finding peace in a noisy world. And one of the scriptures, the reference for the scripture on this is Psalms 46:10, which is be still and know that I am God. And so when you're thinking about that, and you know how people say if you sit still and if you just listen, you'll hear God. I envy those who can really hear him,
Yeah.
who can hear him and have like this is what I'm urging you to do. This is what I would want for you to do. And I have such a problem listening because there's so much noise going around, right? So the question is, why does God whisper? Why doesn't he just shout?
I
You
think
know?
he does. I think he does more than we like to admit. I think the
Yeah.
answers are sometimes right in front of us, but we don't want to see them.
Mm.
Because
I
I'm
agree.
not saying I hear what other people hear. Some people, like you said, and I love and respect those people who can really say, God, I heard God, I felt God, right? For
Mm-hmm.
me, I feel like things have happened. I've like prayed about stuff or asked like for things, or basically just kind of like today, for instance, I'm not gonna lie. I was making some dinner and I literally said out loud, of course, I'm by myself with my stinky dog, but I said out loud, so I was like, thank you for everything, like all the blessings that you've given us, that you continue to give us. And we're not worthy of like half of them. And I literally said, I know I'm not. And I then said, please forgive me for talking about some teachers I work with. I've had a rough few weeks with some teachers in my school. I just don't know if they think I'm just like brand new, or like what I say brand new, like a brand new teacher or what, but I'm just brand new to the school. And so things have been happening that I've found myself getting very like close with God on some things. And so today I just was like, you know, but I've seen a lot, right? And I haven't heard, but I've seen so much that I'm like, I know that has to be you telling me,
Mm-hmm.
showing me, right? So that's what I go off of. I don't, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, he does show, I think he shows us in different ways. Or like I've called you sometimes, like, I know that was a God thing. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
know that was a God thing. But I
Yeah.
find some of this is really comforting. Like whispers aren't hurting chaos. To hear a whisper, we must pause, lean in, and quiet the noise. God may whisper to invite intimacy, to drive us away from distraction and into presence. And unlike the world, which yells to be noticed, which I was just talking about, God whispers because he knows you're listening. Because sometimes when we crave that stillness and we crave that quietness, we
Mhm.
can actually hear him talking to us.
Yeah.
So,
Well, how do you get that stillness? I know how I've gotten it. I'm an empty nester, one. Um, and now I just live with my dog, right? So
right.
I'm in stillness a lot. And I wasn't though. You know what I mean? Like this is
Yeah.
going on what, like 5 months of that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
So it's still kind of like freaky, you know? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm sitting here talking to the dog while I'm cooking. But like for those of you like yourself,
Hmm.
busy 15-year-old, now you've added some fur babies. How do you get
Which
that?
is lovely because, I get to grab onto them and give them little kisses and
I
get kisses.
know, so sweet.
They're
So
so sweet. They are.
But like
Um,
for you and like other busy moms like Jeanette, who's normally on with us,
yeah,
busy right now, taking
very
care
busy.
mama and
Yeah.
doing, and I actually went to Riley's soccer game this past Saturday,
Oh, nice.
to hang out and see Jeanette because I know she's so terribly busy. So I had to meet her in her place, like her hangout. So what do you guys do? Like,
What do you? Well, I used to, and I need to really get back to this because I know if I would just really just wake up like 30 minutes earlier, an hour earlier, that's if I would get myself to bed before midnight. Um, I would actually spend time just me, my coffee, and the Word of God.
yeah,
Now I wake up just in time to go downstairs, grab a cup of coffee, sit in my chair, turn on the TV to listen to some beautiful music. You know how, YouTube has the music with a pretty picturesque scenery and stuff. I put
yeah,
something like that and pretend it's my porch.
okay,
And then I listen to the music and I sit there and I read, but then in the background, you know, Ariana's already, getting ready to go to
stuff,
school and blah, blah,
yeah,
blah. And, and I'm just like, oh, if I just had a few minutes to myself and not having to, because at this time the kittens are still not up and playing just yet.
yeah, yeah,
And then, but once they start hearing us stir around and everything, they start getting rowdy. But I mean, back in the day, I guess it was a few years ago when I actually woke up and I was made my coffee at 6 a.m. And I actually had an hour before anybody else woke up from the house. I got to sit there and journal and write and
Mhm.
actually read and read the Bible. And it was one of my better times, but I just can't seem to fall asleep before midnight so I can make that 6 o'clock. I need about 7 hours of sleep a night. I don't know how many hours you guys need. I need about 7 hours of sleep.
Yeah. I think
Eight
that's
would be
recommended.
great, but that's pushing it.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I thought 7 was kind of like recommended, but to
Mhm.
me, you can recommend 10, but if I'm tossing and turning for 4 of them, I got 6.
Yeah. And that's true too. Even if you get to sleep, you guys, and it just feels like you're going to get the best sleep because you're tired and you just fall in that bed, and the
Yeah.
next thing you know, your eyes are wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're like, how do I go back to sleep? I'm one
Yeah.
of those people that once I wake up, or if I wake up, it's hard for me to kind of go back to sleep,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know.
No,
So
I agree.
it kind of breaks that
Yeah.
cycle, right? But I've tried to do that before and I'm trying to get back there again.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of things to do to help with that.
Mhm.
Comes, from mindfulness and um, just getting back in tune with yourself. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. But
Well,
I know you've had a lot of time to and then like a lot of time to yourself. Okay.
mhm. Mhm.
And having said, having stillness and being noise free and everything doesn't have to be because you're alone.
Right.
Even with friends and you're just sitting there, and not being on phones. Because
Yeah.
anytime we're with our friends or anytime I'm with my friends, they're on their phones or whatever. I try to keep my phone out of the way because I don't want a phone to be in my hands when I'm trying to be present with my friends.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
but just quietness, stillness, just having maybe good conversation, um, meaningful conversation, things like that. Just where it's not just so chaotic and you're not talking about things that have happened in the world because the world is always going to go on,
Yeah.
regardless of how chaotic it is.
Yeah.
But it's what you bring into yourself and what bring into your home that allows you to have some sort of peace, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but those are the things that I had wanted to address today. So, but you say, just like you said, just I was going to ask you a question. So sorry, I kind of got derailed.
Okay.
Like you had said that, being alone or you come home with you an empty nester, and you're more of that. I mean, honestly, sometimes I'm envious because you have your own apartment. You have you don't have anybody, like all the time, right? Um, which there's nothing wrong with because you love your baby, you
There's
love your
not.
family.
There's not.
And sometimes you just need time.
Yeah.
So, my question is, how is that going? I mean, you've been doing this now for a couple of months. So when you're finding yourself in this space, do you take time for mindfulness? Do you take time? Because I'm thinking that your creativity while you're doing your t-shirts and while like it puts you in a zen,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you actually would call it that or if you would call it your mindfulness or your however, but I imagine that it's something that you really love to do and you just get into that rhythm and you're just like, okay. And then
Yeah.
you're just at peace with yourself for just a moment,
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that feel?
I can say that, when I was with mom for like part of the summer, I one day was like, wow, it's very quiet here. And it's not something I was used to. But I sat and I thought, this is what peace feels like. Scary sometimes, like, because I didn't know. It had been so long. And then I was like, roll with that feeling, roll with that feeling. And just because it was something like, I can't even explain. It just was like so much off my back. Like, I don't know. And it wasn't just like what happened, in my marriage and stuff. It just, so many things, like Devin's going to get married. And so everything kind of just coming like, wow, this is kind of okay. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it's the greatest because I still have moments where I'm like, oh, am I making the right decision still? Is this, like you still question that. It's just been like 5 months, not like, um, but I do come home and I'm like, the peace is very nice. So, I mean, it has its good moments, right? Of course, and it's bad. I don't have that, and I used to have some of that, and I'm like, but it depends on how much you're okay with that,
Yeah.
and I just, yeah, so,
It just sometimes it's like one of those things. My daughter gets out of school very early, and she's home sometimes, and sometimes I have to go pick her up. But the moments that I'm home, it's almost like the moment I walk out my door or out my office, it's like, "What's for dinner?" And I'm like, "Well, can I just take a minute?" you know. So and it's just questions. No, let me tell you about my day, and and I'm like, okay. So it just sometimes you just need a minute to decompress, and that's when
yeah,
I want something nice and warm like coffee,
yeah. But I
or
think it's fair for you to like do it, like make that happen because your family members, they get their time to do like their, the stuff they enjoy, but I do know, I was going to say, like when you were at mom's for those 2 weeks, you read what, one book, two books, like that I had. So like I do know you can find a way to,
yeah, but I was
chill.
away from my husband, and y'all like Ariana was like in her own world over there too. So I was like, that
Yeah.
gave me a minute to like
Yeah, it's helpful to have it. Yeah, no,
It
it's helpful to
really
have.
is. I recommend that to anybody. If you can get away just for woof, even a week or
Yeah,
even just a couple of days,
yeah,
just to let go and do what
yeah,
you love. Because let me tell you, those books were good. Of course, I didn't start reading them till almost like 9 o'clock at night, and then I didn't put them
yeah,
down till midnight.
yeah, yeah. Well, I really think though, I don't know about you, like my doctor had put me on progesterone, right? Which is because I'm in that like perimenopausal whatever
Yeah,
stage. And so I've been taking it, and I would wake up just still feeling tired. Like,
hmm.
yeah, and I would make my coffee and all good stuff, but I was like, man, I could still be asleep, like stay asleep. So what I did was I stopped taking it just like this past weekend. I stopped on Sunday, like Sunday night, did not. Um, and I've actually slept okay, but I've woken up not so like, oh, I need to sleep 10 more hours. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to find a balance somewhere. I mean, I don't know where it is. If I did,
Yeah.
I'd probably be very rich. But like, I don't, it's because I feel like you going to sleep late like that, you are missing that time you used to have to just kind of like
hmm
chill, you know? But then I can't say, oh, go to sleep earlier because that doesn't always work.
At a point in time, I could, but there's also distractions and things like that that keep me from going to bed. And actually, if I had more willpower, I probably would be able to,
Yeah.
um, or just say, no, no, that's not what you need to be doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It probably would be a lot better, or I would probably be in a better space, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
Um, but let's do talk about mindfulness and what it means in real terms, you guys. Because mindfulness, they get like I think some words that we use today get so chopped up and like regurgitated into different meanings that are not even what the original was supposed to be for.
Okay.
Oh, right. So I've asked, what is mindfulness? What is mindfulness in its truest form? Okay. So mindfulness means being present, fully aware of what you're doing, feeling, and thinking in the moment. So that's
Okay.
without rushing, judging, or running on autopilot. Just like I said, like sometimes I do feel like I'm running on autopilot. Like you get up, you do the same thing over and over again, you go to sleep and you get up and do it again, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a very good understanding what mindfulness is. And
Hmm.
mindfulness is actually, it's supposed to be present in the moment, savoring what you have in front of you, not, okay, okay, let's do, okay, that's going to be for 3 minutes, but you're thinking about something else. Okay, let's go on to the next thing.
Hmm.
No, it means slowing down, means, being here, being right here. So like, so some of the analogies, okay, like when you sip your coffee, some people sip it and they're like, oh, that's so good. And they take another one and then they take another one and they take another one. But do you savor it? Do you really taste it? You know, it's like one of those things when I was in health coaching school. They said that each meal should take you at least 20 minutes because when you're eating your food, you should be able to put a spoonful, forkful, whatever, in your mouth and chew on it and savor every flavor that comes through. Now, I don't know about y'all. I ain't got time for that. But a good cup of coffee, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Uh, so, but when you're enjoying your coffee, like a lot of us do, hey, I'm one of the biggest ones. I'm sitting here scrolling through my phone, right? So I'm scrolling and tasting, and really not thinking about the coffee like, this is good. Okay, put it down. Scroll, scroll, scroll.
Hmm.
Let me take another step. Let me, okay. And then, and keep on scrolling. That is not mindfulness, y'all. That is
No.
not mindfulness. Okay. Put the phone away
Yes.
for a few minutes. It is not hooked to your, now, there are people who have hooked it to their arm or put whatever it is. And so, but it is not a device. It is not an extension of you. Your phone is not an extension of you. My God,
Yeah.
our phones used to be on the wall. We had to walk and go get the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that is some of the things that we do now. It's like, oh my God, what do we do without this? Well, let me tell you what we did without it. We survived,
Yeah.
and just fine at that.
Mm.
Okay? Just fine at that. I
Yeah.
don't, we don't need those every minute of every day.
No.
So it's just one of those things. Put your phone down. Just one act, even if it's for 5 minutes. You
Hmm.
guys, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes will do you a world of good because you're not listening to all the chaos out there. Because
Well,
the phone brings in a lot of chaos from the outer world.
it does. And I'll say this,
Wow.
going back into a school has kind of stopped me from being on the phone like that. When I worked from
Mhm.
home, I would do my work, but I would still scroll and look and do, you know what I mean? Well, now it's not so easy because I'm busy the
Mhm.
whole like day. But back to your coffee thing.
Mhm.
I'm going to say this on live TV or live whatever.
Yeah.
I had to buy coffee from a local grocery store
Uh-huh.
because I had ran out, getting close to running out of my HEB. Shout out to HEB coffee. I was running low and I was like, okay, until I can get to an HEB, which the closest is about 16 miles, not terribly far, but not around the corner like this local grocery store.
And to
So I
me, it's
go,
more than 1,000 miles away, but thank you.
yeah. So I go to this local grocery store and I find one that I find the flavor like, oh yeah, this should be good with my creamer. Got it. I said, I'm going to try it on Sunday. So that way, if it's not good, nobody has to deal with my attitude. Okay. Just in case. So
Okay.
I did that. It was not very good coffee. Okay. It did its purpose. So I made a phone call to our mom and I told her, listen, there's a huge supply chain trying to sell this HEB coffee for $17 a bag, not $12 like you paid. $17 is now what this other big company is trying to sell it for. I love HEB, but I couldn't do it. So our mom shipped 2 bags to me. Thank goodness. And they got here today. Okay.
Oh, nice.
We shipped them Monday. Shout out to the post office.
Yes.
Way possible. Got here today. I literally today poured the last bit of coffee from HEB into my coffee pot. I get the coffee. And so tomorrow I will be okay again. I won't have to drink this store brand coffee because there is a difference. See, your coffee, because you've been drinking it now every day and throwing different, stuff or whatever. Well, me, I've been drinking like you, the same coffee, throwing in a different kind of creamer, right? Mm-hmm. Just, spice it up. But when you go back to another brand, you will notice.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I say all that to say Sunday I had mindfulness and I sat and savored my coffee. I'm not kidding. In a coffee mug, not my to-go cup that I take to work. Coffee. And it was hard.
Well, listen, I'm a Dunkin' fan and I get me Dunkin' from the store. Okay. Now, there was another one. I did have another cup, another brand, and it wasn't as good. And so, but between Dunkin' and that other coffee and my drip pot, I was missing my Nespresso. So I finished all of that, and then I ordered my Nespresso, and now that's what's sitting on top of my coffee bar right now. Because that's all I want right now is my Nespresso because of the milk frother and because. And no, I'm not getting paid by Nespresso, y'all. I'm not. I just love my Nespresso. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Same with HEB coffee. Yes, but if you would love for me to sponsor HEB coffee, HEB, reach out.
Nespresso. Also, I sing your praises.
Yeah.
But yes, I understand completely. And y'all tell us the difference in your coffee. If y'all have had different coffees or anything else like that. Listen, they're the big ones. There's Starbucks. There's Caribou. There's a new one called Human Being, all kinds of different big, those retailers out there.
Yeah. There's, what is that one?
I prefer Caribou over Starbucks, but I'm just but then, there's some other ones, there's just this one that's just right here and it's called, Because Coffee. It's called Because Coffee.
Yeah. Now, have you ever thought to, on a Saturday morning, I don't want to say Sunday because I know that's church day and stuff, but on a Saturday morning, you just go by yourself and just sit and have a cup of coffee?
Well, you have to remember we're a one-car family, so the car is out on Saturday mornings, and I don't get that opportunity. So, because the first thing that is happening is people going to go do their stuff that they've been doing for, I don't know, 10 years.
Yeah, a while. Yeah. Well, so then while they're gone, can you savor at that time by yourself?
Well, there's only one person that's gone.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's true. But I know,
but I know what you're saying because sometimes, you know what? And that is true. Whenever I want, listen, y'all, and hey, y'all tell me if y'all have some kids like this too, because I've got a 15-year-old daughter who does not like shopping. Go figure. You think that I'd have a kid like a girl? She's a daughter who doesn't like going clothes shopping, or jewelry, or makeup, or she just wants mommy to buy it for her. And I'm just like, girl, no, you need to go do your own style. But she will come with me every once in a while. But if we get her stuff done first, she needs to go back home.
It's done. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, no. But then in those moments when they're like, she goes, I don't want to go. I'm like, cool. Then I'll grab my coffee and go strolling around.
Okay.
All by myself. And that's a moment, But even grocery shopping, we get most of that's delivered. during the week
Yeah.
because that's how
Okay.
busy we are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, but
I'm just trying to help somebody figure out how to get some just a little bit of me time. Like
listen,
not me.
we'll talk after this, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for to being on air and making it official. Um, but also like some of the slow down that we're talking about. It's not just about saving your coffee, even though coffee is dear to our hearts.
It is.
And that is why this is called Faith, Love, and Coffee. But
Yeah.
the next one is about when you're with someone you love, you know, and do we actually hear what they're saying? Do we actually look at them in the eyes and listen?
Okay.
Because sometimes when you avert, you're actually not paying attention, not hearing what they have to say. And I am guilty of this. 100% I'm guilty of this. And sometimes I have to stop myself and I have to turn back and tell my husband, I'm sorry that I turned away from you. Can you please repeat that? I promise I will not look anywhere else again. And then sometimes he'll even see me looking around. He goes, hey, hi, are you listening?
Right. Yes. Yes. Hello.
Hello,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that's an act also, believe it or not, let's hear that, of mindfulness. It started raining. And then when you breathe, this is something we do we take it. This is an advantage that we have as human beings to stay alive is that we breathe, right?
Yeah.
We have to. Oxygen is what we need. But when you do breathe, do you feel it? Do you ever think about, do you ever feel like, hey, I'm just going to breathe and I'm just going to listen to my inhale, exhale, and not worry about anything for at least a minute or two, just listening to myself breathe.
Yeah.
I know it's such a simple act and it sounds very weird because, like, who is going to do that? Okay.
I'm going to tell you, a special education teacher with a student, you're telling to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like or when they're like
for a student in general.
Yes. Or when something gets hyper and they're like,
Mhm.
oh my God, or they're having a panic attack. What do you tell them to do?
Yeah. Breathe. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes.
And I find myself when I tell my students that, because you're like, breathe, let's do it.
And then you do it with them. Let's do it together.
Yeah.
Yes.
I find myself too, like, okay, be in this moment also. Like, don't think about, and it's kind of hard anyway, like to do that because you really should be on what's going on, right, with that student and stuff, or the person in front of you. It just doesn't have to be like a student. But I find myself recently, there's a little third grader I have, and she gets very like, and I'm like, okay, let's breathe. Ready? And she'll start, and I'm like, okay, one more time. And I find myself like, okay, this is kind of, even though I'm not having a moment, it's calming me down too, like putting me back in like center.
Yeah. So when you're helping them, you're helping yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, because it is like, okay, who else does need to go?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
It's funny you mentioned like talking to someone you love, right? And like really hearing, right? Well, so I was, again, like I said, with Jeanette, Saturday, Riley's game. Every time Riley went to do something, she was, videoing, but then there were times that nothing was happening. And so we were talking and she told me the time of the surgery tomorrow and everything, but I had to double check because I was like, I know what I heard, but am I correct? Right. So we talked about things here and there, la, 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 whatever. But I also know we were at a soccer game. So it's not like you're sitting across from each other at a restaurant and like, there was good job, right? All this stuff. So, but I started thinking about the last time I went to eat with Devin and Izzy.
Okay.
And of course, though, it's a little different because I don't see them.
Right.
Like you do your husband every day or Ariana you know what I mean? So like people, and it's not an excuse, but like the people you live with kind of get like used to stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I do know when we were sitting across from each other talking, I'm like, yeah, I'm listening. But then I got home and I'm like, what did we talk about? Like, I know we talked about the wedding and stuff, but I'm like, I know we talked about deeper maybe stuff, but I feel like I was in the moment. I wasn't on my phone, but you get so like talking about so many things and that you don't, I want to say hear everything. But I know I find myself like that. Like, I know this person and we were just talking, but did I get everything they said? Or did I just get pieces and make it fit? You know what I mean? Like what I need it to fit. I don't, if that makes sense.
Your own
Like,
narrative.
yeah, yeah. Like, oh, yeah. So I need
So
to
you
slow.
just took bits and pieces of what they said and fit it to what you wanted to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And not in a bad way because it's typically worked out, but I'm like,
right.
woo, that's kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
not the best way to do that.
Yeah. I mean, well, sometimes when you like, to me, when you have that eye contact, it really does. I mean, to me,
True.
it does. But then you may get some people who can look at you and their minds are wandering.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
it just
True.
depends on you. I mean, this, and we're talking about you
Yeah.
and me as a person. And when I say you, I mean collectively, we all
Yeah.
are, this is, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
And you can practice that at home.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Even folding laundry, washing dishes. Mindfulness means being in that moment, not resenting it, not escaping it, just experiencing it. I don't like doing dishes. I don't like folding clothes. But I have learned that it does have to get done and everything has to go in its place again.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you just get into that routine and you're just like folding and folding, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. And then before you know it, you're done. And you're like, oh, okay. I, I must have done it all. So
Yeah.
until the next time, right?
Yeah.
And then mindfulness is not about being perfect. It's not about always being calm or never getting distracted. It's about getting, how's it? Gently coming back to yourself when you notice your mind has wandered. My mind wanders a lot. So because I have so many things that I'm doing at one time, yeah, you can call me a multitasker. I just think it's just, how do they say, collective chaos or whatever it is. Um, but my mind wanders, especially if I'm just sitting there like reading something and all of a sudden I'm like going, okay, did I put the tilapia up? Did I go ahead and take that down so that way he can get defrost? And I'm reading something. Okay, did I do this? Did I do that? And I have to wait. And I'm like, okay, wait, set that aside. Read that again because my mind does wander, and it's hard. It's so hard to bring it back and hone in on something that you want to singularly do, something singular, right? When we're so busy doing so many other things. So that it's hard to bring yourself back into yourself and trying to, do that. But I'm assuming that if you can breathe in and breathe out and listen to yourself breathe, or just take a moment just to be like reflective, like even if you have to whisper something to yourself, like, I am worthy, I am this, I am that, just for that moment, then, that will bring you back into, your space. It's like giving yourself permission to slow down, to be rooted, so, and to, which I love this, and to love the life you're actually living. Because at the end of the day, when you do go to bed and what did you accomplish that you feel like that meant something? Did you do anything meaningful today? Did you do anything that was resentful? Did you do, I'm sure that we can all have all these things going through our head, but are you at peace with yourself? Pretty much. Do you feel like the day went well enough to where you can actually sleep at night? Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I wish I could give y'all like the sacred like pauses in your day, or set some secret pauses or anything else like that. But honestly, it's just slowing down, and just, coming into yourself. And I had read and saw a movie, and I cannot remember the life of me The Prayer Room. And I think I mentioned this before, that this woman made space in her closet, and I have a big closet, y'all. In her closet, she did too, that she made a little prayer space. in her closet.
Mm-hmm.
That is where she communed with God. And that is where she took her sacred space. And that is where she went to just be. And I'm seriously thinking about taking some of that space in the very back of that closet and do the same thing.
I
And
don't
getting
think you should think about it. I think you
those
should do it.
screens, like one of those screens, and just,
Yeah.
of course. And then I'm sure some people say, well, you have your office. Yes, I have my office. I do have my office, which is only mine, and I'm the only one who's here and everything else. And I could do the same thing here. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no. So did I lose anybody? Did I lose you? Because I felt like my computer just went off for a second.
Oh
Oh my
gosh.
goodness.
No.
Did it go off? Okay. But, there's just something to say about a tiny space. This has my work, my rower in it, my computer. This is somewhere for me to work.
You need to go outside, don't you?
Yeah. But
I took him out, not to divert the conversation, but I took him out before I got out at 7:30. What time did I get on? We walked around and walked around and walked around. I was trying to
yeah, a
get
little
him.
bit after 9. About
Yeah. I was
yeah.
trying to get him to go to the restroom. He did part of what he was supposed to do, but I know after we get done, I'm gonna have to take him back out. He did not do. But
Well,
yeah, I
hey,
think you've mentioned that prayer room and that closet now. I
yes,
think you should.
I think I should too.
I
So
don't have any room in mine anymore. My closet is pretty big, but I've pretty much drawn my storage unit and made it into taking stuff out. But wherever you can make it happen, right? For me, it was today when I was cooking the salmon. I just had a moment.
yeah.
It just hit me, and I was just like, okay. And of course, they say intelligent people talk to themselves, so I guess I'm becoming more intelligent while I'm cooking salmon.
I think
Um,
that's awesome.
well, I just felt like I needed to, I guess, say it, just like hit me in that moment. And it's not all the time that it happens, but I feel like when this, like in the morning, my Bible app will go off and I don't read it at that moment. I'll grab my phone because I'm usually heading out the door when it reminds me. So I grab it and I say it out loud or like inside, like, okay, I promise I am going to get to this when I get to school. Right. And so when I get there, I open it, I sit down and just read what's there. Right. And then I go on about my day. Right. But I don't do that every day. I find myself, it'll remind me at lunchtime, like, hey, you haven't read it yet. And I'm like, okay, but, and it's not because I have anything else going on. It's just time, starts to get away from us.
Yeah.
But I think everyone deserves to have that little bit of peace every day. It's not going to be all day, but just a little bit.
And just try, you guys, if you can, to reduce the digital noise.
Yeah.
Put your phone
I know
down.
I do. It's really bad. I feel bad because I turn after I take the dog out in a little bit, we're going to come back and I turn my ringer off, not on vibrate and I put it on silent and it's not close by my bed.
Yes.
It does wake me up though. It is my alarm, right? But then I feel like if anything happens to anybody, I'll find out, I guess, when my alarm goes off at 5 a.m., but I've had to start doing that because I found myself, if I roll over at 3 o'clock and my phone is close by, I'll look and be like, did I make an Etsy sale? Did I get anything notification on Facebook about anything?
Yes.
No, I'll still see that in the morning.
Yeah. Because sometimes I'm sure at some point you were probably hearing those dings in your head.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There's sometimes when you just have to put everything down and be like, okay, I'm done. I'm done for the night. Let it go. Let me, turn to my husband, give him a kiss on the cheek, tell my daughter I love her before she goes to night. That kind of thing. And just remember that you're allowed to rest. You're allowed to be. Just be.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we have come to the end of this episode. So I have a little bit of journal prompt homework for you guys. if you want to participate. And the questions are, where in my life am I craving stillness? And what's one way I can create it this week? So, again, where in my life am I craving stillness? And what's one way I can create it this week? So,
Love that.
yes. So stay tuned for our next episode, which is part 3 of our 4-part series of the fall reset. And it is reclaiming joy, small sparks that rekindle the heart. So just, if you have anybody out there who would like to come in and listen, if you're listening later, thank you so very much for joining us. And, we invite you to come back and join us again. Y'all need to start writing comments. Y'all, ask questions. If you want to come on the podcast, let us know. Miss Jamie, we got to get your friend Terry at some point to talk about that episode that's coming up, which will be very interesting. And I think Jeanette also has another friend who I hope has not forgotten about us that may come on with us as well.
Yeah.
And I think I have a couple of people that I really want to talk to you about coming on as well. So if you have any, if you want to hear about something or you want to talk about something, let us know. Drop a comment. We'll drop a comment.
Yeah.
And join us, or invite people to come on with us. That'll be great. And we really appreciate you all. We love you all. And, this is just a safe space for everybody to talk and just be with us. So here we go. And I am going to close us out with my favorite, which is keep faith, spread love, and savor every sip of life. Until the next time, take care and keep brewing positivity. We'll see y'all the next time. Bye now.
Bye.